as one of, if not the greatest controller player. He's gone from being accused of cheating to winning multiple FNCSs. So today, we're going to take a look to see how Reet became a controller legend. Reet started his competitive journey very early on, playing in some of the first online tournaments, which were just the Contender Division Cups and the Scallywag Cup. As expected though, for a new competitor, these placements weren't the best. But regardless of his performance, Reet was hooked, and with the announcement of the $40 million World Cup, this only fueled the urge to play. Now, just like his other tournaments, he didn't play the best. However, he did still manage to get his first earnings in Week 8 of Duos. Shortly after, the very first FNCS was announced, another chance for Reet to show how much he had improved in the months after the World Cup qualifiers. Now, unfortunately, he didn't do well enough to make the heats. However, he still did add an additional $600 to his earnings. Now, these tournaments he played throughout Chapter 1 might not have been the greatest, but his life was about to change in Chapter 2. But at first, that didn't happen. His placements at the beginning were still pretty poor, but when Squad's FNCS came around, there was some notable improvement. He went from struggling to even get top 1000 in cash cups to placing 58th in one. But soon after that, he would seemingly come out of nowhere and end up winning a solo cash cup. Plus, this win would actually be the first time he would even place within the top 10 of any tournament. Now in the cash cups, he was starting to see some more consistency, but for Squad's FNCS, he was only able to make the heats, just falling short of making his first grand finals ever. However, he still managed to make a nice little bag from Winter Royale, taking home $3,000. But it was in 2020 where everything would start to fall in line. By the way, if you're enjoying the video, make sure to subscribe because only 3.5% of you watching actually are. But let's continue the video. But just like the beginning of the chapter, it didn't start that way. During January and half of February, he went back to having extremely inconsistent performances, only having one single placement in the top 100. Now, even though his recent placements weren't too good, he still decided to go to DreamHack Anaheim to compete at his very first LAN event. And considering he was going up against some really good competitors, he still managed to make it to the grand finals and placed 50th. Just 1 month later, the qualifiers for FNCS, which was now Duos, began. It was also around now where he started entering some friend groups of really good players like 40R Storm and even Epic Whale. Because of this, he ended up competing in some tournaments with them. So since Reet was starting to get his name out there, Dog, who ended up winning the first Season X FNCS, decided to give Reet a shot. And eventually, after playing well in weeks 3, 4, and 5, he made it into the semis, where they placed 5th, making it to his first grand finals ever. And he did very well considering, pulling through with a solid 7th place. This really put him out there. He was starting to become pretty well known in the NA West competitive scene, as one of the scariest fighters in the game, especially in solos. And with the solo FNCS Invitationals happening that same season, just a few weeks later, it was time for him to really prove it. And that's exactly what he would do. Not only was he getting his name out there in the competitive scene, his content would start to see a boost. A streamer and YouTuber named Arab, who was very well known in the competitive Fortnite scene for coaching players to earnings and being a very good and smart player himself, decided to give Reet a shot during this season's solo FNCS Invitationals, and Reet did not disappoint, going on to drop a 24-kill win during the event. So with Arab coaching this insane game, he made the video entitled it, "I Coached an Aimbotter in FNCS." This title makes a lot more sense when you watch the gameplay from this video. This video was destined to be one of Arab's best videos ever, and it would end up gaining over 1.6 million views. After making his way into the grand finals once again, he managed to get a 3rd place, taking home $15,000, the largest sum of money he's made from one tournament yet. Up until this point, those who paid close attention to the NA West comm scene really knew who Reet was, but the majority of players and viewers had still never heard of him. However, in July of 2020, that would all change. During the semifinals for one of DreamHack's first solo online events, Reet decided to go absolutely crazy. Dropping big kill games to him wasn't anything new, so one of his games he decided to do just that. But the main reason for this really putting him out there was the fact that this crazy rampage through the lobby was being streamed to thousands of viewers. Yes, he was still posting YouTube videos and streaming pretty consistently, but he was still small, so not many people really knew how good he was until now.
Oh, the backside of this wall is actually taken. Looks like the end game, another box. Then he dives in. Reet is on a tear.
Nosh here. Nosh is one of those.
Reet light up in the feed, and they're hoping. They're saying, "Nosh me."
No.
We'll continue. Up he goes. Yes, in the water.
Oh
he dives.
Up and Reet for someone here. Yes, it is. He's gonna take him out, and now back down 2. On the other side, though, you see Booger trying to...
Reet is going in. Another one. Crash pad 2. He gets the wall. Yes. Is it? No.
He gets taken out.
But after this, many people started to wonder, who was the seemingly random player nobody's ever heard of? So to capitalize on this hype, he would post the full 12 minutes of that endgame on his YouTube, which would gain over 1.4 million views. Reet had now finally gotten his name out there, and with that, he would see a massive boost in viewership. But this is also where all the accusations started flooding in. Since not many people knew of him, lots of people were starting to analyze his gameplay, accusing him of using a Zen or having soft aim. And later down the road, he would even get a quote-unquote exposing video made by him from a YouTuber named Exalted, which has gained over 1 million views throughout the years. But little did he know, these accusations were a blessing and a curse. So many people thought his playstyle of jumping box to box just wasn't replicable, even with controller aim assist being so busted back then. So if it was, we would see more people doing it, right? So surely he had to have been cheating. So to try and determine this, everyone flooded into his streams and videos. And Reet, being extremely smart, knew he had to capitalize on the situation. Season 3's solo FNCS had begun, and he would start uploading way more frequently while also streaming more consistently. So now we're at the very end of summer, and Reet is gaining easily 100,000 plus views every video and averaging around 700 viewers every stream. However, his placements in the FNCS Grand Finals weren't the greatest, with him finishing in 48th. But that didn't really matter, he was on top of the world. And in September, he would get signed to Extra Gaming, a very large Fortnite organization back in the day. In the next few months, he would continue to be dominant, winning a couple Catch Cups and placing 3rd in a DreamHack Finals. However, things were about to change. Throughout these last few months, most of the events Reet placed well in were in solos. But going into Season 4's FNCS, the game mode would change to trios for the rest of the chapter. So obviously, he needed to find some teammates. And that's when he would end up playing with Fabs and Wavy Jacob. He would go on to place 5th this season, another very solid Grands performance. And for the rest of the year, he would continue this momentum. DreamHack changed the tournaments to now be duos, and he ended up playing with easily one of the best players from NA West, Arkrum. So it didn't surprise anybody when this duo went on to place 5th and 3rd in the last 2 DreamHack events of the year. On top of that, since it was the end of 2020, the Frosty Frenzy was happening. So to end the year off right, he would win 3 out of the 4 sessions of the event. So many people were in disbelief. This random controller player went from struggling to place within the top 1,000 just a few months ago to now winning a bunch of events. So obviously, these cheating accusations only increased with more eyes on him. But Reet never let this affect him. His YouTube channel continued to increase in size, and he was now averaging around 3,000 viewers on Twitch. But if he thought what he had achieved in 2020 was impressive, 2021 would blow that out of the water. However, this didn't happen right away yet again. His first 2 seasons in FNCS were not what he had hoped for, with him getting a 10th and 6th place. But even though he might not have done as good as he wanted in FNCS, he was still winning tournaments, even getting a chance to play with players like Clicks. And this last half of the year was going to be absolutely crazy. In the solo FNCS All-Star Showdown, he placed 3rd, and in Season 7's Trio FNCS, he got 2nd, just barely getting beat out by NA West's best trio, Epic Whale, Arkrum, and Rex. Now when Reet first started blowing up, he was known as a controller player who would just tunnel vision on kills, and didn't have the best game sense. But this was far from the truth, and those last 2 FNCS placements helped prove it. He had evolved as a player that was now very smart, making the right calls, and having his insane mechanics to back him up whenever he gets into tricky positions. So now, being considered as one of the best players on the region, it was finally time for him to prove it. In Season 8, Reet decided it was best to look for a new trio, even though he had just gotten a 2nd place. So that's when he decided to reunite with Fabs and pick up Snacky, also one of the greatest fighters in the game. But throughout the qualifiers, they didn't have any crazy placements. However, in the heats, they pulled through with a 3rd, making it into the Grand Finals. And it was here where Reet was about to put on a performance of a lifetime.
100. Nice. Dead. Nice. 30. 40 crack. 40 crack. Dead. Nice. 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 Crazy, bro. Nice. I'm crazy, bro. You're crazy, bro. 50 full marks. Dead. Come on. 1v1. Nice. Let's go. good job. Dead. I'm getting. I mean, 150, full box, 150. Dead.
I hit one hard.
Knock 120, guys.
Cut me. No, last one hit.
We're crazy.
They did it, breaking the streak of Epic Whale's trio for the first time in well over a year. Now this was great for Reet. Everything was finally falling in place. So with the announcement of the Grand Royale just a few weeks later, many people knew he had a good shot at winning once again. But nobody was ready for what was about to happen. Like I've mentioned, Epic Whale, Arcrum, and Rex had been the best trio in NA West, winning 4 FNCSs back to back. However, over the years, Rex started playing the game less and less, to the point where he'd only hop on to play tournaments. So after Arcrum already playing with Reet before, and his trio being the ones to dethrone him, they decided to drop Rex for the first time and try their luck with Reet. Obviously, with the FNCS winner splitting from his trio, it stirred up some drama in the scene. But deep down, everyone knew this trio would almost definitely win. So with all eyes on Reet to go back to back, he couldn't let them down.
Dead.
On the left. Break the left.
Jojo, fight for the body. Dead. Two dead. Triple. You guys gotta get everything.
One speed, dead.
Cracked.
Dead.
Nice.
Behind, up. This one. 100, dead.
Really? Our guy, I have
I
more
double.
heal,
100, kill the solo.
Fight for yourself. Nice.
200. Full box.
Nice.
2 dead. 100. 20 speed. I'm not back to the round.
Nice.
Go.
Yeah.
100. Full box.
I have 8
Full
heals.
clip.
I'm here. High pad.
You don't have an ulti. Wait, what speed?
No.
Dead.
No.
Go.
I have 6 builds. Nice, Reet. Get all that. You can play back. No,
Top 3.
Let's go.
Nice.
Guard, dead zero.
Oh, my record. Zero mass record. Below us. 20 speed.
Reet, a little bit. Here.
I killed Sidra.
AR. 80.
Go, Bell 3.
200.
Dead.
Nice. Right, you kill one.
Nice. Let's go, Reet.
We're
Nice,
Bro.
Introducing the incredible new foot-long sidekicks. Get one at Subway today.
He would not let them down, and he would do it again, going back to back, proving this change in trios was the right one. But sadly, things were about to take an unfortunate turn. We are now heading into Chapter 3 of Fortnite, and with that came a switch in the FNCS game mode from trios to duos. And interestingly enough, he would end up playing with Rex. However, this season would go horribly. This time, FNCS was much harder to qualify for, with there only being 2 qualifying weeks and less people making it in each round. But you'd think this wouldn't affect the back-to-back FNCS champ, right? Well, wrong. They proceeded to not make it past the opens in week 1, and not make the finals in week 2, which meant, sadly, he didn't even make the heats. It would also be around now where his viewership, especially on Twitch, would start to drop pretty significantly. And my guess was this is because of a mix in poor performance and the decline in viewership of the game overall from the entirety of that chapter. Now, a lot of players would see all of this and start to doubt their ability, going from arguably the best player to not making the heats in just a few months. But Reet took this and turned it into something positive. He put his head down and started grinding. He was determined to never let this happen again. And unexpectedly, he would continue to do with Rex into that next season. And this decision quickly proved right. They would end up winning the first week's qualifier, making it directly into the Grands. So now it was time to see if all of this hard work that season would pay off.
Grab this match, and shoot him.
Nice! Epic Whale goes down as well. Now Reet Rex looks to get solution. Caleb Buka, they're trying to hold on to it. Reet fires towards the backside of zone. But Reet knows they cannot let this elimination escape in the quick play. Now, looking for the Caleb onto Cali Buka. Will they be able to make it happen? Will trying to block off every option that they have. The damage is in, and Reet and Rex take the game.
Now, even though they played insanely well, he wasn't able to come through with the win, getting a 2nd place, right behind his old trio mates, Snacky and Favs. But obviously, this was still very impressive. And in Season 3, he was about to get a teammate upgrade. Arcrum had just decided to step away from the game, and he was playing with Epic Whale at the time. So since he quit and Rex was still not playing as much as he used to, Reet and Epic Whale would reunite to play. But even though they were unarguably the most decorated duo on the region, things didn't go too well, with them placing 11th in that Season 3 Grands. However, Season 4 was about to be very interesting. Epic decided to host the very first LAN event since the World Cup. the FNCS Invitationals, and Reet would end up being invited to play with Epic Whale for it. This was a very big deal, not just the fact that only 50 of the best duos in the world would go there to compete, but Reet could finally put the haters to sleep. I mentioned before when Reet first came into the scene, many people accused him of cheating, and throughout this whole time, these accusations never stopped. It was also in Chapter 3 where Zenz became very well known in the scene, and it was easily at its peak of being abused by players. But if Reet could do well during a LAN event where there's no chance he could cheat, you'd finally be able to prove the doubters wrong. But that didn't happen. Even with the prior LAN experience of Epic Whale, they were unable to put the pieces together, resulting in a 27th. At this point, Reet started to plateau. His placements were starting to become more inconsistent, and his viewership dropped to what he was at the beginning of his streaming career. Nonetheless, this experience would help him down the road. Now, Chapter 3 was definitely a roller coaster, but in Chapter 4, he would only make improvements. Season 1 would end up being the very last time NA West would ever have an FNCS, and deciding to stick with Epic Whale, he really wanted to make this one count. And things were looking pretty good. In the qualifiers, they managed to get a 4th, 1st, and 17th, easily making it to the Grands, as expected. But after not playing up to their standards, on day 2 of the finals, they ended in 6th place. Even though 6th place is quite good, even on West, they were expected to do much better. But with the combination of West and East to create NA Central in Season 2, this was the fresh start that Reet needed. So with everyone knowing that he was already one of the best fighters in the world, it would be interesting to see how we would go up against more of the top competitors. But it didn't take long to see how he would do, since he would end up winning the very first tournament on NA Central, being the Mama Benji Fishy Cup. Another thing to note here is that for pretty much his entire career, Reet had always been on relatively high ping, and despite that, he was still a phenomenal player. He would also prove this even more back in Chapter 2 when he qualified for the DreamHack Grand Finals on EU, where I believe he was on around 170 ping. But the reason I mention this now is because for the first time ever, he would be moving to Dallas, where the Fortnite servers are located. So that meant we were about to see a whole nother side of him going from bad ping to hard 0. But even with this change, their FNCS performance was quite lackluster, ending in them placing 14th. So since they ended up underperforming in pretty much every single one of the grand finals, Epic Whale and Reet decided to split after a year of playing together, and his new duo would end up surprising everybody. Instead of trying out with another well-known competitor or FNCS winner, he decided to pick up Rituals, an up-and-comer player who was another very good fighter. And the reason for him even finding out about him in the first place was because he had came out of nowhere winning DreamHack Dallas just a few months prior. So this decision to pick up a player that had not yet proved himself in FNCS definitely raised some eyebrows. But like Reet's done his entire career, he never took others' words to heart. He believed in his abilities as a player. And like Reet does, he would shut up anyone who was doubting him by winning the second ever tournament they ever played together. Now in FNCS, they got a 10th. Definitely not bad considering this is their first FNCS together. But the main takeaway was that they just placed good enough that season to qualify themselves for the FNCS Global Championship, a $4 million LAN at the end of the year. So when time came to play at the event, nobody really knew how well they'd do, since that last FNCS was their first ever season playing together, and that placement wasn't super crazy. Plus, on top of all of that, it was Ritual's first time at an official Epic hosted LAN event. But despite this uncertainty, they played out of their minds, finishing 3rd place in the upper bracket after being in 1st for almost the entire tournament. And in the grand finals, they pulled through with a 9th place, earning that duo $80,000. Nowadays, Reet and Rituals are still playing together, even though for a brief second, Rituals ended up dropping Reet. Even with that little misstep, I'd still be shocked if they didn't get at least a top 3 in FNCS this chapter. And well, Reet is still dropping crazy kill games, recently getting a 50 kill solo versus squad ranked win, breaking the world record. And also getting upset that he only got a 32 kill win in the Solo Victory Cup finals.
Like, dude, I just need a new controller, bro. I can't reset edits. I can't, like, I don't know, bro. It's so bad. Like, I just suck, man. I'm actually so washed on this controller. I'm not even trolling.
Now, throughout the years, he mainly only focused on competitive. So because of that, the content side of things started going downhill. but now he's getting back into streaming more than he's ever have, and it looks like he's in his prime. So far, Reet is winning in life, earning over $220,000 from the game, achieving over 400,000 subscribers on YouTube, and is coming up on 1 million followers on Twitch. So far,